satu kita, kita Indonesia sesungguhnya.
Lawan samudra terbentang khatulistiwa.
Di situ ku ada bersamamu saudara.
Warna kita suku tak selalu sama.
Kau aku Indonesia yang disatukan karena cinta. Indonesia, jangan pernah terpecah belah. Walau kita berbeda, walau kita tak sama, tetaplah satu kita, kita Indonesia sesungguhnya.
Voice of Indonesia, the overseas service of Radio Republic Indonesia, broadcast in 9 language services: English, French, German, Dutch, Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin, Japanese, and Indonesian. Voice of Indonesia is broadcast via shortwave 3325 kHz and 4755 kHz, and via streaming on voinews.id and RRI Digital on mobile application. We present various programs for you: Diplomatic Forum, The Session, Indonesian Wonder, Miscellany, Let's Speak Bahasa Indonesia, Indonesian pop and regional songs, international musical entertainment, as well as news and information about Indonesia and abroad. Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.
Voice of Indonesia from Indonesia to the world. Listener, today's VOI Talk from Voice of Indonesia informs you about Indonesia, which is preparing to send new representatives to the world. The government is expected to submit a list of ambassador candidates to the House of Representatives on Wednesday this week, including the nominee for the United States, one of Indonesia's most strategic diplomatic partners. The real question is, who fits the role? What makes someone truly capable of speaking for a nation on the global stage? So let's explore the ideal qualities of an ambassador, the challenges and more with Bapak Teuku Rezasyah, Ph.D., an international relations expert from Padjadjaran and President University. Good morning, Pak Teuku. Thank you so much for joining us on VOI Talk. Okay, sorry, we couldn't hear your voice clearly. Can you say once again how's you're doing today? And we really thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you. My name is Teuku Rezasyah. I'm teaching international relations at Padjadjaran State University and also President University. This is a private university. Both are located in West Java province.
Okay, then we can clearly hear you. And as an international expert from
Thank you.
Padjadjaran University and President University, by looking at the basic qualifications, in your view, what defines someone as ready to represent Indonesia as an ambassador?
Well, this is the great question at this very moment, yeah, because today the Commission 1 of the Indonesian Parliament is consulting someone who will become the next ambassador. Of course, the president has nominated him, but anyway, him or her, but anyway, that person has to consult the Indonesian Parliament. What are the qualifications? I'm sure whoever becoming the Indonesian ambassador, he or she should have certain qualifications. Number one is nationalistic, yeah. In this case, that person understands fully the Indonesian ideology, Pancasila, and also understand completely Indonesian constitution, and also the person has a capacity to translate the idea of Astacita or 8 ideas of the Indonesian development into practices. And then, of course, that person should have an advanced understanding on international law, on diplomacy, on the ongoing bilateral relations, and also globalization. In short, that person should have qualities in terms of intellectual quotient, emotional quotient, spiritual quotient, leadership quotient, and managerial quotient. It is very difficult to find one. So that's why in some posts, we cannot easily put someone there.
So how do traits like diplomacy, empathy, negotiation, ability play a role in the ambassador's daily work?
Yes, if we refer to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961, and Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, 1963, we will find that the job of ambassador is so huge, yeah, and full of responsibility. For example, reporting, and then representing, from there negotiating, and after that protecting and promoting. With regards to trade is very important. So that's why when it comes to negotiation, Indonesian ambassadors should have advanced quality in all rules and regulations at the global level, and also rules and regulations at the Indonesian level, and then also rules and regulations at the bilateral level. In this case, ambassadors will have to deal not only with the official partners, but will also have to deal with business partners and also work hard to open markets for Indonesian economy. Of course, based on mutual benefits, and also based on the principles such as sovereignty and territorial integrity.
An ambassador, of course, will interact with the locals. So another crucial factor is cultural sensitivity. Don't you think so? Why is it vital for ambassadors?
Correct.
Why is it vital then for ambassadors to deeply understand the host country's culture and political climate?
It is very important because we in Indonesia we have a principles of fish living with water. Well, in this case, ambassadors should have a complete understanding on the life of the host country. In this case, a full understanding on the political system, how it works, understanding on how the ideology is working, and also understanding on how the people are living there. In this case, the capacity to use the local language is very important, apart from mastering international languages. For example, this is very crucial for country like Russia, for country like South Korea, North Korea, Germany, Japan. Anyway, all parts of the world, once they have their own national language, Indonesian ambassador must have a good understanding. If necessary, Indonesian ambassador should speak at the advanced level so that they can communicate using formal language and also informal language. That's why it is very, very difficult, and especially the president, he has a very high standard. in nominating someone.
Yes, because of course every country has a different cultural approach, right? So another ability that must be owed. And when it comes to political climate, global geopolitical situation, this is also what is emphasized by the Indonesian House of Representatives Speaker Puan Maharani. That's her expectation. What do you think about this expectation?
Well, expectation from the Indonesian Parliament, it is very, very serious. Yeah. Because in today's diplomacy, we are having also parliamentary diplomacy and then the normal diplomacy or the traditional diplomacy. Governments may come and go, but the parliaments stay. So in this case, we expect to have a tandem relations when it comes to diplomacy. In this case, Indonesian ambassadors are expected also to support the national parliament to better deal with the parliament of the hosted country. In this case, parliaments that they need to travel, they need to consult to each other because long-term commitment needs to be supported by the parliament of the two countries.
Political connections often come into play. How do we balance merit, professionalism, and political considerations in the appointments of ambassadors?
You are right, yeah. When we see ambassadors, we can differentiate, we can categorize them into two things, yeah. First, career diplomat and then non-career diplomat, yeah. For the career diplomat, they have been there for more than 25 years, and they have climbed the ladder from the lowest one to the highest one, beginning with attaché, and then third secretary, second secretary, first secretary, and then chancellor, minister, then come ambassador. So when it comes to career diplomat, they have had enough trainings from the basic level, the midterm level, and advanced level. But we also recognize that there is a prerogative of the president to nominate someone from the non-diplomatic pool of people. They may come from the professionals such as academic stream, and then military stream, political stream, maybe also political stream, and also parliamentary stream. But in this case, usually the president has a good knowledge that this person should have managerial quotient, leadership quotient, and good intellectual quotient, and also good nationalism. Because even though they are coming from outside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but they have had special trainings for this. And for people who are coming from the military background, a police background, or educational background, throughout their career path, they have had enough education and training. But anyway, when we talk about once someone is trusted to become ambassador, this person have to put Indonesia first, not sectoral ego. Not sectoral ego any longer. So we need to think of Indonesia incorporated. So in this case, once ambassador is appointed, that person should put Indonesia first, and then his educational background, his political background second, because he is loyal to the nation. In this case, he's loyal to the president of Indonesia, who trusted him or her to represent Indonesia overseas.
So no matter how diverse the backgrounds of the ambassador candidates from diplomats, military, and business, and so on, so he or she must put forward Indonesia first. That's
excuse me, I cannot clearly hear your voice. We have about 200 kilometers distance at the moment.
Okay. Now, can you hear me clearly? Pak Teuku?
Yes.
Okay.
Please excuse me, I cannot clearly hear your voice.
Okay, what about now? Because we can clearly hear your voice right now. Yes, Pak Teuku?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me for the bad connection, yeah?
Okay, so we're talking about the ambassador's diversity background. Now you can hear me.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about the diversity of the background of the ambassador's candidate. So no matter how diverse the background is, he or she must put forward Indonesia. That's the bottom line, right? Okay, now what about talking about the challenges? Yes. The challenges, especially for those sent to global powers like the United States. What are the pressures and expectations for such a high-level posting? Yes, Pak
Yes,
Teuku?
I think when it comes to yes, thank you. When it comes to diplomatic posts, Indonesia, we recognize that some countries are to be considered we need to give a very special attention for this. Yeah. United States is among the one. Yeah. We call United States and then EU countries, ASEAN countries as D1. D1 mean diplomatic one. Yeah. When dealing with United States, I think we need to really find the most appropriate ambassador for the country, and also the good understanding on the American political system, and then the dynamics in the American bureaucracy at this very moment, and then also the decision-making process in the United States, which involve many institutions, not only state and non-state institutions, but also private institutions. And also we need to understand the dynamics of the states level. US has 50 states. We need to understand also the dynamics there. So that's why Indonesian ambassador to the United States must fully understand not only Indonesia, but also the bilateral relations and also the strategic role of the US in the world. So in this case, the deep understanding on the philosophy is there, a deep understanding on the strategic role of the US in the world is there. Because oftenly ambassadors needs to make a quick decision. So not to cause hassle to the president. That's why an ambassador to the US must specially receive the Indonesian president approval in advance, and also special trust from the Indonesian president.
Knowledge and decision-making skill is really difficult indeed. And from the US, we talk about the global tensions, the current global tensions, climate issues, digital diplomacy. What kind of ambassadorial mindset do we need moving forward, Pak Teuku?
Well, in this case, ambassadors, once the person is stationed, he will deal with the states and also with the media. That's why a good understanding on modern diplomacy is very important, and a good understanding on globalization is very important. So that's why an Indonesian ambassador needs to be smart. In this case, I'm not talking about degree, but degree is preferred, because degree will help an ambassador to deal with the local campuses, local research center, and of course, someone with advanced knowledge will easily link himself or herself with the local academic environment, research centers. So that's why, in order to be highly professional, ambassadors will have to travel a lot in the country to be to provide keynote speeches and then to attend conferences. And then through these conferences, the ambassador will have the opportunity to explain Indonesian position on what is going on. For example, today we are witnessing a lot of critical situation. For example, the Israeli war against Iran, and then the life in Gaza, and then also the ongoing war but involving Russia and Ukraine, and then also the U.S. new kind of tariff. I think ambassador needs to understand the situation, and also needs to put Indonesian position in such a soft way. So that's why ambassador should also understand when it comes to making comments, Indonesian free and active foreign policy must be explained. That we are part of the world, but we are not taking side, but we are looking hard to to support the UN Charter. So these are, among others, the philosophy before an ambassador speak in public.
So how can a strong ambassador elevate Indonesia's presence and soft power abroad from a public diplomacy perspective?
Yeah, you are right. Public diplomacy is very urgent at this very moment, because when it comes to diplomacy, we need to attract also the role of Indonesians living inside, because they have a voice. They have a voice in the modern diplomacy. So that's why public diplomacy interaction is very important, involving Indonesian over here and then the Americans over there.
And if only you could design the ideal ambassador for Indonesia today, can you name 3 core values or competencies would be non-negotiable? Well, listeners, seems like we have a technical problem that is faced in today's VOI talk, talking about Ambassador Wanted, who fits with our today's speaker, Teuku Rezasyah, Ph.D., an international relation expert from Padjadjaran University and President University. So today, the Indonesian government is set to submit a list of ambassador candidates to the Indonesian House of Representatives on Wednesday this week, including the nominee for the United States, one of Indonesia's most strategic diplomatic partners. We are still trying to reconnect with Pak Teuku Rezasyah for a quicker, thoughtful discussion. Okay, now let's try to reconnect with Pak Teuku Rezasyah for a final statement here. Hello, Pak Teuku.
Yes, I'm back again.
Okay.
Hello again. I'm back now.
Yes, Pak Teuku, I would like to find out from your view about if you could design the ideal ambassador for Indonesia today, what 3 core values or competencies that you can mention that would be non-negotiable?
Well, the non-negotiable items, among other, nationalism, and then good understanding on the importance of international law, and then adherence to the ongoing treaties at the bilateral level, and also the bilateral countries' role at the global level through various kind of international treaties. This is very important. This is the basic line.
Okay, then final statement, please, from you, your hope or any other messages you would like to convey on the submission of ambassador candidates on Wednesday.
I think the candidates are having a big headache, how to deal with the Indonesian parliament, and I pray that they could pass this final examination and finally they can represent Indonesia in the destined country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pak Teuku Rezasyah, Ph.D., for such a thoughtful, insightful discussion. Ambassadors must not only represent Indonesia, they must connect, engage, and inspire trust. Their voice is our voice abroad. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, listener, that's today's VOI Talk. Ambassador Wanted, who fits with Pak Teuku Rezasyah, Ph.D., an international relation expert from Padjadjaran University and President's University. Stay tuned for more insightful, inspiring talks on VOI Talks from Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.
Voice of Indonesia, the overseas service of Radio Republic Indonesia, broadcast in 9 language services: English, French, German, Dutch, Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin, Japanese, and Indonesian. Voice of Indonesia is broadcast via shortwave 3325 kHz and 4755 kHz, and via streaming on voinews.id and RRI Digital on mobile application. We present various programs for you: Diplomatic Forum, The Session, Indonesian Wonder, Miscellany, Let's Speak Bahasa Indonesia, Indonesian pop and regional songs, international musical entertainment, as well as news and information about Indonesia and abroad. Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.